Hello everybody, it's vanburman here, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to start by looking at some new stuff. I'm going to start looking at a bit more hardware-y, techie stuff. So one of my friends at work said he had a really old computer and he wanted to use it for, you know, doing some light gaming on or whatever, but he said it was really old. So I said, well, you know, just drop it round, I'll have a look at it, we'll see what it's all about. So we've got a 2009 Amilo desktop PI 3630, comes with a Core 2 quad, 8200, Q8200 even, and 4GB of DDR2 already installed, running at 800 MHz with a 9600 GT that has 512MB of dedicated RAM and also DirectX 10 support. Now, having looked up the specifications on the Fujitsu website, this also came with a Q9400 instead of the 8200. So this one was the lower of the two models, I guess. Everything else is similar. The motherboard only supports 4GB of RAM anyway, so that wasn't really much of an option. I struggled with the camera a little bit, so I apologise about that. So the first thing I did was load up the computer, and it came with that horrible Vista, you know, operating system. So the first thing I did was put my SSD with Windows 10 in, and I thought I'd just conduct some tests just to see sort of what we're playing with. I mean, at the time, the advertisements, even though you can't see it, it's trying to say, you know, it's a fairly competent gaming machine. Now, the results were a mixed bag, and from those results, I then looked to see how I could improve it and really how I could make it a little bit better. So one of the limitations are the motherboard doesn't allow processor overclocking and all that sort of stuff, so that was a bit difficult. RAM's obviously really expensive, but it only supports a maximum of 4GB anyway. Moving into the games, we started off with Left 4 Dead. I've recorded it all externally just to try and get the best FPS. I'm not running Shadowplay in the background. I'm not even sure if the graphics card actually supports Shadowplay or not. But Left 4 Dead gave us an average FPS of 57 and a minimum of 33. So more than playable, and this was at 1080p, all the highest settings, and really it's pretty much what I expected. You know, Left 4 Dead's a fairly lightweight game, and it, you know, runs pretty well. So I only recorded 2 games, this one and another, but I tested 4 altogether. So one of the other ones I looked at was Crysis, and I had to run that at 900p on the medium preset, and that gave us an average of 35 frames with a minimum of 28, and it was playable. You could play on it. I mean I wouldn't want to, because, you know, you've lost a lot of the graphical fidelity, and the frame rate wasn't brilliant. The fact I had to turn down to 900p is pretty indicative of that. We then move on to Shogun 2, and I just ran the benchmark from the internal benchmark that it does. So this was at 720p, and it's quite demanding actually, this benchmark. It's not really that indicative of the actual gameplay that you will see yourself when when you're in the game, and that produced 11 FPS. So really quite low, considering it was it claims to be 720p balanced benchmark. But it was just one of those ones that I wanted to have a built-in benchmark from a game that I could do, so it was uniform across all of the different upgrades that I did. Whereas obviously when I'm playing Left 4 Dead, yeah, I can play the same level, but different enemies appear at different times and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, it was sort of like more of a control. And then I played the Elder Scrolls Skyrim at medium settings at 1080p, and that gave us an average of 32 with a minimum of 8 and a max of 64. Now obviously all Bethesda games are capped at about 60. You know, you get a bit of variance there, but the gameplay was bad. I mean, I got quite a lot of drops and stutters and all that sort of stuff. Shogun 2 was really bad, which obviously you've been seeing. So yeah, I can't recommend it for that sort of stuff. But no, I mean, there were some positives there. The processor is actually fairly okay. But going forward, I wanted to make a few changes. So the first thing obviously had to go was the 9600 GT. I do want to test it out at a later date, so I probably will be doing that, but just with a more powerful processor, just to give it room to stretch its legs and just, well, really get a definitive answer on how good that is. So in the next video, we're going to be looking at a comparison between the upgrades and how it performed before and after, a bit of a comparison. So I hope you all enjoyed that video. As you can see, the case was a little bit messy, but yeah, very messy actually, so most of my time was spent cleaning it. But it's all part of the service, so yeah, I just thought it would be a good little experiment to do. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video, looking back at a few old bits of hardware and doing a little bit of DIY upgrade. I'll see you very soon on the next one, guys. Goodbye.